For 50 years, Elvis Presley's tomb remained sealed, a silent guardian of the king's final resting place. Millions visited Graceland, paying their respects, yet no one truly knew what lay beyond those sacred walls. Until now. Recent discoveries have shaken everything we thought we understood about the legendary icon. Secrets hidden for half a century have emerged, revealing a side of Elvis the world has never seen. Were these just forgotten relics of his past, or do they hint at something far more mysterious? The truth behind Elvis's life, legacy, and even his death is about to take an unexpected turn. What was uncovered inside the tomb defies belief, igniting speculation, debate, and a renewed fascination with the king of rock and roll. This is not just history. This is a revelation. Stay with us as we dive into the astonishing discoveries that could change the Elvis story forever. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss what's next. On August 16, 1977, the world lost a legend. Elvis Presley, the man who revolutionized music and captivated millions, was gone. His passing left an undeniable void, but his influence never faded. To honor his memory, his final resting place was chosen with care, a peaceful corner of his beloved Graceland, a place he once called home. Over the years, this sacred ground became more than just a burial site. It transformed into a symbol of devotion, a place where fans from every corner of the globe could connect with the man who changed music forever. From the moment Graceland's gates opened to the public, thousands flocked to pay tribute, leaving flowers, letters, and heartfelt messages. Fans stood in quiet reverence before his tomb, some shedding tears, others whispering words of gratitude. The meditation garden became a pilgrimage site, drawing visitors from the United States, Europe, Asia, and beyond. But while the world mourned and celebrated his life, one lingering question remained. What truly lay beyond that stone marker? For decades, the tomb remained untouched, its sanctity preserved by the Presley family. They ensured that, while Graceland welcomed the public, the interior of the grave would never be disturbed. Fans could visit, take photos, and reflect, but no one, not even historians or experts, was permitted to see what rested within. This veil of secrecy only deepened the intrigue surrounding Elvis's final resting place. Was it a simple memorial, or did it hold secrets that had yet to be revealed? As the years passed, Graceland evolved. What was once a private home became a museum, preserving not just Elvis's music, but his personal life, his passions, and his legacy. Rooms that once echoed with laughter and melodies now stood frozen in time, each item carefully preserved. Fans could walk the same halls Elvis once did, stand where he stood, and see the world through his eyes. But one place remained off-limits: the tomb. Family members and estate officials spoke of their deep commitment to protecting Elvis's memory. Interviews over the years highlighted their desire to keep his final resting place undisturbed, respecting the king's legacy and the wishes of those closest to him. Some saw this as a gesture of reverence. Others believed it was a way to keep certain truths buried. Literally. The years went on, but whispers never faded. Fans and researchers alike speculated about what could be hidden inside. Was there more to Elvis's story than the world had been told? Did the tomb hold forgotten artifacts, lost letters, or even a clue about the mysteries surrounding his final days? For 50 years, the world could only wonder. But then, everything changed. A single decision set in motion an unprecedented event, one that would shatter the silence surrounding Elvis Presley's tomb. What was about to be uncovered would send shockwaves through the music world, challenge everything we thought we knew, and leave fans with more questions than answers. Elvis's story was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Over the years, Graceland became more than just a place of reflection for Elvis's fans. It took on an air of mystery that no one could ignore. Strange occurrences began to surface, reports of objects moving on their own, odd sounds echoing through the meditation garden late at night, and subtle changes in the area surrounding Elvis's tomb. Visitors swore they felt a strange presence, a chill in the air, as if Elvis himself was still watching over them. But were these unsettling events mere coincidences, or was there something far deeper at play? The stories quickly spread across fan circles and social media platforms, each account more eerie than the last. Some spoke of flowers mysteriously rearranging themselves, while others claimed to hear faint whispers when standing near the tomb, even when no one else was around. These eerie incidents began to fuel growing speculation, leaving many to question what was really going on at Graceland. Were these signs from beyond the grave, or were they merely the product of vivid imaginations? As the stories spread, Graceland became a hub for paranormal enthusiasts, drawn by the possibility of uncovering supernatural phenomena. Ghost hunters and curious thrill-seekers began to visit in droves, eager to document any unusual activity. But it wasn't just the paranormal community that took notice. As rumors of the tomb being tampered with emerged, conspiracy theories flourished. Were the reports of disturbances connected to a deeper mystery? Was someone trying to access Elvis's final resting place? Or were these events a sign of something far more significant? Online forums buzzed with speculation. Some theorists pointed to the presence of strange symbols around the meditation garden, while others suggested that the tomb itself might have been disturbed long before the recent developments. Was the king's final resting place as untouchable as everyone had believed? Or was someone, or something, gradually unraveling the sanctity of this sacred ground? The role of conspiracy theorists became even more crucial in the unfolding drama. For decades, rumors about Elvis faking his death or going into hiding had been circulating, fueled by his sudden disappearance from the public eye in the late 70s. The whispers from Graceland now seemed to add weight to these theories. Had Elvis left behind hidden messages or clues, or had the tomb been disturbed to cover up something more mysterious? As the rumors grew louder, calls for an investigation began to intensify. Fans, historians, and journalists alike pushed for answers. They demanded to know what, if anything, had been tampered with. Was there a conspiracy to hide the truth about Elvis's life and death? Were these strange events just the beginning of a much larger revelation? In the midst of this chaos, the Presley estate remained firm, trying to quell the rising tide of suspicion and intrigue. They insisted that the tomb had not been tampered with, that the disturbances were simply coincidental, but the public's curiosity couldn't be silenced. The idea that something more than just Elvis's physical remains lay within those walls was too compelling to ignore. With every new report of a strange event, the pressure mounted for answers. Graceland's mystery was no longer just a piece of Elvis's history. It had become an enigma that needed solving. For 50 years, the tomb of Elvis Presley remained sealed, untouched by time and speculation. The decision to unseal the tomb was not one that could be taken lightly. The Presley family and the estate were faced with an agonizing dilemma. Should they open Elvis's final resting place after all these years? There were profound ethical questions to consider, legal hurdles to overcome, and, most importantly, the growing demand from the public for answers. The pressure to open the tomb had been building for years. Rumors, strange occurrences, and the unrelenting curiosity of fans created a storm of speculation that no one could ignore. The public's desire for closure and clarity was undeniable, but the Presley family, deeply protective of Elvis's legacy, had always been firm in their stance. They wanted to preserve the sanctity of Graceland, keeping it a place of reverence rather than a spectacle. However, as the years passed, the calls for answers only intensified. Conspiracy theories abounded, and fans flooded the estate with letters, petitions, and even protests, all urging the family to allow an investigation into the tomb. Was the man who revolutionized music really gone, or was something much more complex at play? Some felt a deep need for resolution, to put to rest the endless rumors and unanswered questions that had loomed over Elvis's death. At the same time, the Presley family faced their own internal struggles. Their hesitation was not born of skepticism, but from a desire to protect what they considered sacred. They feared the grave's opening might turn into a media circus, stripping away the dignity and respect they had worked so hard to preserve. Would this move risk tarnishing the king's memory and reducing his final resting place to a mere curiosity? Despite these concerns, the mounting pressure from fans and the media forced a re-evaluation of the situation. Historians and forensic experts began voicing their own concerns. Would opening the tomb lead to a deeper understanding of Elvis's life and death, shedding light on the man behind the legend? Or would it open old wounds that were better left untouched? The legal battles that ensued added another layer of complexity to the decision. There were multiple parties involved: the Presley family, the estate, and the various government and legal bodies responsible for overseeing such an important site. The legal process of unsealing a grave, especially one so culturally significant, was not a simple matter. There were documents to review, permissions to secure, and approvals to be made. Every step had to be handled with the utmost care to avoid controversy or violation of laws regarding the disturbance of burial sites. As debates raged on, voices from both sides grew louder. Advocates for opening the tomb, including some of Elvis's most devoted fans, insisted that the revelations contained within could provide new insights into the king's enigmatic life. Perhaps, they argued, the tomb held the answers to questions that had lingered for decades. What caused Elvis's sudden decline? What were the true circumstances surrounding his death? And what secrets could still be hidden beneath that stone? On the other hand, critics argued that disturbing Elvis's final resting place was a step too far. They believed that some mysteries were better left to the imagination, and that the king's grave should remain a symbol of peace and respect, not a spectacle for public consumption. After months of intense discussions and legal wrangling, the Presley family, faced with mounting pressure and the overwhelming curiosity of the public, finally agreed to allow the tomb to be opened. However, the conditions were clear. Everything would be done with the utmost respect and discretion. There would be no media frenzy, no sensationalism, only a careful, methodical investigation conducted by a select team of experts. The decision was made. The tomb of Elvis Presley, after half a century of silence, would be unsealed. What would be discovered inside? Would it offer answers to the mysteries that had haunted fans for decades? Or would it only raise more questions? Only time would tell. As the tomb was unsealed, the team of experts entered into the unknown. What lay hidden for 50 years would soon be revealed, and what they discovered left everyone stunned, far beyond the expected, far beyond the answers anyone had hoped for. Personal letters, cryptic documents, and forgotten treasures that had been sealed away with the king for decades were uncovered, offering a rare glimpse into Elvis Presley's private life. But it wasn't just about artifacts. It was about a deeper story. a story that painted a more complex picture of the man behind the legend. Among the first items unearthed were handwritten notes, their pages yellowed with age, but their words as powerful as ever. One particular note stood out. Its message was brief yet haunting, written with urgency, almost as if it were a final declaration. But to whom was it addressed? Was it a farewell to a loved one, a close friend, or perhaps a plea for understanding in his final moments? The tone of the note suggested a personal struggle, something many hadn't realized Elvis was battling behind closed doors. Who was this message for, and what was it trying to convey about his state of mind in the final days of his life? These questions would linger, as the note revealed more than just words. It hinted at an emotional depth no one had anticipated. Then, hidden beneath layers of paper and fabric, the team found something even more unusual. A small lockbox, unassuming at first, but bearing Elvis's unmistakable initials. The box was carefully sealed, and as the lid was lifted, the secrets it contained shocked everyone involved. Inside, there were more documents, contracts, agreements, and letters that completely challenged the narrative many had accepted for years. Among these papers were medical records that had never been made public, detailing health concerns far more complicated than anyone had known. These documents painted a troubling picture of Elvis's declining health, offering clues that his final years were not as simple as the media had portrayed. But the shock didn't end there. The box also contained business papers, including contracts with individuals and organizations that had distanced themselves from Elvis during his later years. The dates on these contracts suggested that, contrary to popular belief, Elvis was still actively pursuing projects well into the 1970s, despite rumors that his career had been in decline. This discovery brought up even more questions. Why were these agreements hidden? Was there a deliberate attempt to obscure his true intentions? Or was there more to Elvis's final years than anyone knew? As the investigation continued, the team uncovered a series of photographs that added another layer to the mystery. These were not the glossy images of the confident performer known to the public. Instead, they were candid shots, some showing Elvis in moments of vulnerability, in places no one had ever seen. Some photos depicted him in private settings at Graceland, while others seemed to show him in locations that were completely unfamiliar, suggesting that Elvis's life in the final years might have been far more secretive than anyone could have imagined. These pictures didn't just showcase the king on stage. They revealed a side of Elvis that was hidden from the public eye, a side of him that few people ever got to see. The more the experts dug through the materials, the clearer it became. Elvis was not the simple, carefree star many believed him to be. He was a man of complexity, caught between the pressures of fame, the struggles of his personal life, and the ever-present specter of his own mortality. The letters and photographs revealed relationships that were never known to the public, some long kept secret, and others that suggested unresolved tensions. What stood out the most, however, were the traces of a man still planning for the future. Amid the medical records and personal reflections, there were clear signs that Elvis was not ready to fade into obscurity. He had secret projects in the works, plans that had yet to be realized. The contracts in the lockbox suggested that despite his declining health, he was still involved in the business world, negotiating terms and preparing for a return to the public eye. These discoveries were a game-changer, turning what many believed was a story of decline and retreat into a more complicated narrative of a man who may have been quietly fighting for control of his own destiny. The more the team unearthed, the more the myth of Elvis Presley was shattered. This was no longer just the story of a musical icon who had burned brightly and tragically faded. This was a man who, even in his final years, was full of plans, ideas, and struggles that had been hidden away. The items found inside Elvis's tomb were not mere artifacts. They were pieces of a larger puzzle, a puzzle that painted a much richer, more nuanced picture of the king's life. What had once seemed like the end of a legend was now revealed to be just another chapter, one that had remained closed to the world for far too long. Amidst the shocking discoveries from Elvis Presley's tomb, there was one revelation that truly stunned everyone involved. While the personal artifacts, letters, and hidden documents had already raised countless questions, nothing could have prepared them for what was about to unfold. The forensic team, tasked with verifying the identity of the remains, conducted a series of DNA tests that would reveal an unexpected twist in the story. What they uncovered left experts and fans alike speechless. Genetic anomalies that defied explanation. The process was straightforward enough. Samples were taken from the remains and analyzed in the hopes of confirming that they indeed belonged to Elvis Presley. DNA analysis is a routine procedure in cases like this, but what the team discovered was anything but ordinary. The results showed discrepancies that sent shockwaves through the investigation. These anomalies suggested that the remains inside the tomb might not be those of the king of rock and roll at all. At first, the experts thought it was a mistake, perhaps an error in the sample collection or testing process. But as further analysis was conducted, the inconsistencies only deepened. There were certain genetic markers that didn't match up with what was expected from Elvis's known family history. This led some to wonder, could the body inside the tomb actually be someone else's? And if so, how could that have happened? This revelation ignited a fresh wave of speculation and controversy. For years, conspiracy theorists had suggested that Elvis Presley may have faked his death, disappearing into obscurity to escape the pressures of fame or to live a quieter life. Many dismissed these theories as outlandish, but the DNA results added a new layer of mystery to the puzzle. Could it be possible that Elvis had staged his own death and was still alive somewhere, hidden from the public eye? The theory that Elvis had faked his death to escape the relentless spotlight had long been a part of popular culture, but the new DNA findings seemed to lend some credence to this idea. Was it possible that the body in the tomb wasn't Elvis at all, but instead a carefully arranged substitution? If so, why would the Presley family allow such a deception to go unchallenged for decades? Some experts suggested that the anomalies could be explained by errors in the records or a mix-up during the burial process. Perhaps the remains were misidentified, and the body in the tomb wasn't even Elvis's to begin with. This theory, though less sensational, seemed plausible to some, but it didn't fully address the scope of the discrepancies in the DNA results. The idea that a body could have been switched, whether intentional or accidental, was just as perplexing as the notion that Elvis might have faked his death. The more the DNA results were scrutinized, the more theories emerged. Could the discrepancies be the result of a calculated cover-up by those around Elvis? Was there a deliberate attempt to protect the king's legacy, keeping certain details hidden from the public for reasons that were never fully understood? If the remains in the tomb didn't belong to Elvis, who were they? And why were they placed there? As these questions swirled, the public's reaction was one of disbelief and intrigue. Fans who had long believed in the official story of Elvis's death began to reconsider everything they had thought they knew. The DNA findings had opened a Pandora's box of possibilities, each one more unsettling than the last. For decades, Elvis's death had been a subject of wild speculation. But now, the possibility that the very identity of the remains in the tomb could be in question had taken the mystery to a whole new level. Some argued that the genetic anomalies might provide the missing link in solving the riddle of Elvis's life and death. If these results were accurate, they could mean that the king's disappearance was part of a much larger plan. Was it possible that Elvis's decision to vanish had been orchestrated with the help of those closest to him? Did he stage his death to escape danger? Or was there another, even more compelling reason for his sudden disappearance? Others, however, believed the anomalies were simply the result of an error, perhaps an issue with the way the remains had been preserved, or a misstep in the testing process. DNA testing is a complex science, and errors are not unheard of. Could this just be an unfortunate technical glitch, or was something more sinister at play? As more forensic tests were promised, the world waited for answers. Would these results lead to the revelation that Elvis Presley had faked his death and was still alive? Or would they prove that the remains in the tomb were truly his, despite the genetic discrepancies? One thing was certain: the mystery surrounding the king's death had deepened, and the world would be watching closely for whatever revelations might come next. The most intriguing question that has followed Elvis Presley's death for decades is whether he could have faked his own passing. For years, rumors and theories have swirled, suggesting that the king of rock and roll may have lived far beyond the official date of his death. These theories, often dismissed as mere fantasies, have found new life with the recent discoveries inside Elvis's tomb. Some of the documents uncovered suggest a much different story, one that hints Elvis may not have died in 1977 at all. The mystery began to take shape as certain letters and contracts, long thought to have been lost to history, were found among the contents of the tomb. These documents showed Elvis actively negotiating with individuals and organizations in the late 70s, years after his supposed death. Why would these contracts exist if Elvis had truly passed away? Why would such significant business dealings continue to take place after the world had already mourned his loss? The timing of these documents suggests that, rather than fading into obscurity, Elvis may have been very much alive in the years following 1977. For years, fans have speculated about the possibility that Elvis staged his death to escape the overwhelming pressures of fame. The discovery of these documents reignited those very theories. Could the king of rock and roll have disappeared to reclaim his life? Perhaps the fear of constant public scrutiny and the physical and emotional toll of fame drove him to orchestrate a dramatic exit. The evidence found within the tomb now gave these theories a level of credence they never had before. Even stranger, some of the photographs found in the tomb showed someone bearing a striking resemblance to Elvis, appearing in the 80s and 90s. These images, snapped in various locations and settings, appeared to depict someone with the same facial features, the same signature style, and even the same mannerisms that fans had come to associate with the king. The photos raised questions. Could it really be him? Were these pictures a sign that Elvis had gone into hiding, or was someone else simply attempting to capitalize on his legacy? Adding fuel to the fire, a widely circulated rumor suggested that Elvis had entered witness protection in the late 70s, possibly due to threats from powerful figures. There have been long-standing rumors about Elvis's connections with the mafia, and the idea that he may have faked his death to escape danger has lingered in the background for years. Some believed that the pressures surrounding Elvis, combined with his ties to underworld figures, made it impossible for him to continue his public life without putting himself at risk. Could he have disappeared to save himself from harm, perhaps taking on a new identity, and disappearing into the shadows? While none of these theories could be definitively proven, the documents and photographs found in the tomb cast new light on the possibility that Elvis's death was not as it seemed. For years, fans have wanted to believe that Elvis might still be alive, that he faked his death to live a life of freedom. Now, with evidence pointing to ongoing activity in the years following 1977, those who held on to these beliefs had their hopes renewed. Could Elvis have lived on, quietly watching as his legend grew, or had someone else taken his place in the public eye? The mystery surrounding Elvis Presley's death and the years following it remains unsolved. But these recent discoveries have added another layer to the conspiracy. Whether Elvis truly faked his death, or whether the documents and photos simply point to an extraordinary coincidence, one thing is clear: the King's story is far from over. With each new revelation, the lines between myth and reality continue to blur, leaving fans and experts alike questioning everything they thought they knew about the man, the legend, and the possible life he may have led after 1977. Elvis Presley's legacy has always been larger than life. From his groundbreaking music to his unforgettable style, the King of Rock and Roll changed the course of popular culture. His influence, powerful as ever, continues to inspire new generations of fans, even decades after his death. But with the recent revelations surrounding his tomb, the narrative of Elvis's life and death has shifted. These shocking discoveries have offered fans a completely new perspective on the man behind the legend, sparking fresh debates about the true story of his final years. For years, Elvis's death was seen as a tragic, albeit inevitable conclusion to a life lived under the intense pressures of fame. But with the documents, letters, and photos found inside his tomb, historians and fans alike are rethinking everything they knew about his last days. These revelations have forced experts to reassess the way they view Elvis's personal life, his health struggles, and the mysterious circumstances surrounding his untimely death. What if Elvis's story didn't end in 1977? What if the king was still planning, still dreaming, still fighting for control of his destiny, long after the world thought he was gone? The Presley estate, which has carefully guarded Elvis's legacy for decades, has found itself facing new questions and challenges. The recently uncovered materials have sparked a renewed interest in Elvis's private life, one that his family and the estate had worked hard to keep hidden from the public eye. As the estate grapples with these new revelations, they have had to decide how to handle the growing curiosity from fans and scholars alike. Will these discoveries open the door to more transparency, or will the Presley family continue to protect their beloved icon from the world's prying eyes? In the wake of the tomb's opening, streaming platforms have seen a significant surge in Elvis's music sales. Classic songs like Heartbreak Hotel, Jailhouse Rock, and Suspicious Minds have found new audiences, while old fans rediscover the magic of his voice and presence. Elvis's catalog of music has always been timeless, but now, with a new layer of mystery surrounding his life, his work is being re-examined through a fresh lens. These revelations have brought Elvis back into the spotlight, not just as the king of rock and roll, but as a symbol of unanswered questions and untold stories. The renewed interest in Elvis's life has also sparked a resurgence in documentaries, books, and films about the king. Projects that explore his life, legacy, and the recent discoveries are attracting new viewers who are eager to uncover the truth. Some are drawn to the mystery surrounding his death, while others are more interested in understanding the man who forever changed the music industry. The door has been opened to a new chapter in Elvis's history, one that invites deeper exploration into the complexities of his personal life and the larger-than-life persona he created. It's clear that the revelations surrounding Elvis Presley's tomb have ignited a cultural renaissance, reminding the world of his lasting impact. But with new mysteries unfolding, the king's legacy is no longer confined to the music industry or the silver screen. Elvis is now, more than ever, a figure of intrigue, a man whose life may have been far more complicated than anyone imagined. As we look back on his incredible career and ponder the secrets that may still be hidden, we are reminded that Elvis Presley's story is far from over. The king may have left the building, but his influence and the questions surrounding his life and death are here to stay. The recent discoveries inside Elvis Presley's tomb have raised more questions than they've answered. What we thought we knew about the king of rock and roll has been turned upside down, and the revelations have only scratched the surface of a much deeper mystery. The documents, photos, and anomalies found inside the tomb have ignited a wave of speculation, but this is just the beginning of the investigation. With so many unanswered questions hanging in the air, the world is left wondering, what comes next? Forensic experts and historians are already calling for more testing. The DNA anomalies discovered in the remains have led to a renewed push for further analysis. Could there be more hidden secrets in the tomb? Are there additional genetic tests that could shed light on the identity of the remains? These tests could provide the answers that many are desperate for. The forensic team, having only scratched the surface, is now facing the daunting task of diving deeper into the samples they've collected. If the anomalies in the DNA results are confirmed, it could reshape everything we thought we knew about Elvis Presley's final resting place and his life. The possibility of additional forensic examinations is not just confined to DNA. The tomb and its contents could hold even more secrets, waiting to be uncovered. Items not yet examined, letters still locked away, and hidden treasures that have yet to be revealed may hold the key to unlocking the ultimate mystery of Elvis's life. What if there are documents, perhaps legal or personal, that could change the entire narrative about his health, his death, and his mysterious disappearance from the public eye? Could these items provide undeniable proof of the theories that have circulated for decades? Equally tantalizing is the prospect of declassified files or new estate revelations that might surface in the coming months. The Presley estate has long been protective of its most personal records, but with the new discoveries and the mounting pressure for answers, could they finally release more information? Fans and historians are eager to see what might be hidden in the family's private collection. Perhaps there are documents locked away in archives, letters from Elvis himself, or contracts that were never meant to see the light of day. These revelations could answer more than just questions about the tomb. They could illuminate entire chapters of Elvis's life that have been shrouded in secrecy. But what about the fans? What role do they play in the ongoing investigation? Elvis's fans have long been the lifeblood of his legacy, and now, more than ever, they are instrumental in keeping the conversation alive. As new revelations emerge, fans are encouraged to stay engaged, to continue questioning, and to push for further investigation into the mysteries of the king's life. Whether through social media, fan clubs, or online communities, the voices of the fans are a powerful force. It's through their passion and dedication that the pressure for more answers continues to build. The investigation into Elvis's final years is just beginning. The tomb's unsealing was only the first chapter in what promises to be a long and complex journey toward understanding the man behind the legend. As new evidence emerges, the questions will only grow, and the search for truth will continue to unfold in ways that no one could have predicted. The king of rock and roll may have left us with more mysteries than answers, but the story is far from over. The world is watching, and Elvis's legacy, complicated, enduring, and full of surprises, will continue to captivate us for years to come. Elvis Presley's story is far from finished. Despite decades of speculation and intrigue surrounding his life, death, and legacy, the recent discoveries have only cracked open the door to even greater mysteries. What was found inside his tomb, the documents that were hidden away, and the shocking DNA results have turned the spotlight back onto the king of rock and roll in a way no one could have predicted. But these revelations are just the beginning. What do you think about the truth behind the king's final years? What could the tomb's contents tell us about Elvis that we've never known before? We want to hear your thoughts, theories, and reactions, so make sure to share them in the comments below. As we continue to explore the depths of Elvis's life, his secrets, and his lasting influence, we're just getting started. Each new discovery adds a new layer to the enigma of Elvis Presley. Was his life really over in 1977, or was there much more to the story than we ever imagined? As more details come to light, the king's legacy will continue to evolve and surprise us all. The conversation doesn't end here. It's only just begun. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of the incredible updates coming soon. We'll continue to dive deep into the mysteries surrounding Elvis Presley and explore every angle of this legendary figure's life and legacy. Whether you're a lifelong fan or someone just discovering the king, there's always something new to uncover. Be sure to share this video with fellow Elvis enthusiasts, because the more people join in, the more we can all contribute to the growing conversation about Elvis's hidden truths.